So today,
Today we're going to be talking primarily Ghostbusters, but before we get into that, we wanted to cover on a couple of topical things. First being the release and kind of nuts insanity that has surrounded Pokemon Go.
World Takeover. Yeah. So I think out of the three of us, I'm the only one that's played so far, right?
I downloaded it, but I haven't left the house today, so
Oh.
that doesn't really count as playing.
I honestly don't give a crap about it. I haven't even bothered with it at all.
Oh, see, I really like this game for a lot of implications. So the first thing that I really love about it is that when I was a little kid, and I pictured a world in which digital and analog worked in harmony, this is almost exactly what I pictured. I mean, maybe not the cell phone situation, but I mean, kind of this overlay of augmented reality in the world. So to me, it's like being a little kid. Also, the gameplay, for me at least, is very similar to the earlier games. And sorry, this is a throwback to when Andrew got me into gaming, like the very old school Paperboy and Legends of Zelda, where there was no instruction. So I was just learning as I went along, and I've sort of avoided any forums or any instructional information that's on the internet for this one, and I'm just sort of playing the game and figuring it out as I go along, and it's so fun. It's just in a very childlike way. So if you want to feel like a kid again, I would highly, highly recommend it. If you prefer to remain an adult in all things, then maybe not for you. But last night, I was wandering around downtown Hampton because Hampton, Virginia does a block party every weekend during the summer. And so apparently there were a lot of people. First of all, it's fairly historic, so there are a lot of Pokestops. And there were a lot of people putting lures on the stop. So there's a Pokestop, and you go up next to it. It's, of course, all GPS located. What's the word? Geospatial. And you walk up to a Pokestop. It's usually something of historical importance or a landmark of some kind. And if you're right next to it, your phone will recognize that, and you can spin this little photograph of the place on your phone, and then you get new Pokeballs to capture new Pokemon. Sometimes you get other items, eggs, that kind of thing. And then on some, you can also pay for a lure, and rare Pokemon will be attracted to this lure, and you don't have to be the only one that benefits from it. So if you're in a public area and you go ahead and set a lure, you could get 16 or 17 different people wandering over trying to get rare Pokemon. So it was really cool because there were a lot of people running around putting these lures up. So I was wandering across the street in downtown Hampton, right across from the Virginia Air and Space Center, and as I'm walking across, I'm looking at my phone because I'm trying to find the next Pokestop. And this woman and guy who would clearly had just been at the bars wander over. They go, "Are you Pokemoning?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." And they go, "Oh, there's some rare Pokemon over by the bank. Go over there." So these were people that weren't even playing the game, but they'd probably heard it from someone else that there was a Pokemon sitting over there. So we wandered over in that direction and tried to capture it. And I just thought it was it felt very neighborly. It felt very cool. There are people that are geeks and there are people who are not geeks getting in on the action on this game, whether you download it and play it or not. It was just very friendly. It was probably one of the more friendly interactions I've had with strangers in a really long time. So
That's because your interactions with strangers don't involve candy.
That's true.
Mine, on the other hand, do.
And
Also,
windowless vans.
yeah, also Vans.
So on that note, I really have been enjoying the game. So, dude, I know you are really excited about all the bad things that have been happening to people playing this game.
I mean,
I love some of them are really horrific.
I like the fact they found dead bodies.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
so-
right. I forgot about that.
There's a couple of them. So, Smoking Gun, dated July 14th, 2016. Former Marine was trying to catch Pokemon sea creature when he drove into a tree. The New York man who wrapped his car around a tree while playing Pokemon Go is a former Marine who was trying to catch a Lapras, a blue sea creature, right before the crash Tuesday night. Steve Carey, 28, suffered a broken ankle and leg lacerations when he slammed into the tree while driving along near Lake Auburn, an upstate city about 25 miles west of Syracuse.
For crying out loud.
I was going to say if it hadn't been for the ex-Marine thing, I would have thought that Billy Joel was playing Pokemon.
Oh, God.
Wrapped car around tree. That's Billy Joel.
The cops report that Carey admitted to actively playing the Pokemon Go game while driving, causing him to become distracted and run off the roadway into a tree, end quote. He's expected to be cited in connection with the one-car crash. According to the family members, Carrie spotted the Lapras Pokemon and became briefly distracted, allowing the vehicle to careen off the roadway and into a tree. In an email, Carrie's mom said that her son was, quote, injured and extremely tired right now, end quote, adding that, quote, my son is a former Marine who is trying to be a firefighter and an EMT, end quote. Yeah, it was
and apparently Ash. Also.
Yeah, blasted apart a 1996 Honda Accord. Yep. It's
well, that thing was probably on its last legs anyways.
It's a pretty nice smack. I mean, like, you look at the picture and you're just like, geez.
He smacked into it.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
What's another one here? Phoenix from the AP, Pokemon Go craze across the U.S. has people wandering into yards, driveways, cemeteries, and even an off-limits police parking lot in search of cartoon monsters, prompting warnings that trespassers could get arrested or even worse, especially if they cross paths with an armed property owner.
Yeah, I'm sure. Did you see the one about the two guys that fell off a cliff?
I heard about that one. I don't have that one pulled up, but I do like this. So far, few tickets have been issued, and there have been no reports of arrests or assaults on trespassers playing the game. Those whose object is to use the phone's GPS technology to find and capture animated little creatures in the real world. This stuff is just too much to me. Right around, you were talking about the lures, right?
Yes.
So St. Louis, Missouri, July 10th. Police say that 4 men used newly released Pokemon Go game to commit multiple robberies in the St. Louis and St. Charles counties. Police say they believe the suspects conducted multiple armed robberies by targeting their victims through the Pokemon Go game.
Yeah, they would set lures, I think, and then people would come over and not paying attention and get held up. Which...
Yeah, and the one in...
I'm not sure if I lived in St. Louis if I would actually play this game.
Yeah. In New Hampshire, I think, is where they found the body. I mean, there was one like right outside a Holocaust Museum or something.
They found two. They found one. There's one in Nashua, New Hampshire, and they also found one in, I think, Montana.
Yeah, that's something. And then there's been a couple of videos of like people in Central Park, and I've got one from the Telegraph showing a group of people just launching themselves in one direction to catch these little. It's really
that's
really
hilarious.
Nice.
Nice.
It's really something. But I mean, it's funny. At work, a couple of my coworkers are really into the game. I really have very little interest. I downloaded the Star Realms app, and that's basically what's been wrapping up my time. And we were sitting there in the office going, how long is it going to take the base to put out guidance on playing Pokemon Go? And it turned out it took a week and a day. So they finally released guidance. And they're basically like, don't go into restricted areas or ships' engine rooms chasing Pokemon. Stuff like that. And I remember a buddy of mine on Facebook posted a picture of someone catching a Pidgeot?
Pidgey? Yep.
Pidgeotto or whatever it is. A Pidgey. Like a Pidgey off a twerking stripper's ass in the club.
That's
some of this stuff is
awesome.
Really,
That's awesome. On a more positive note, I have seen photos of young people setting up Pokemarts, which is their own nickname. So they'll be near a Pokestop or whatever, and they'll set up like little cardboard, like a lemonade stand, but it'll have soda and chips and stuff, and they'll sell them. I think that's so cool. It's encouraging entrepreneurship and, stuff. Possibly also drug deals. Who knows? Anyway, so that's Pokemon Go.